Are you ever out on location enjoying your landscape photography, but you have that nagging voice in your head that's constantly worrying about whether or not your camera settings may or may not be correct? There's nothing worse than being taken out of that magical flow state where you're in nature enjoying landscape photography because you're worried about your camera settings. So here's 5 signs that your camera settings are probably actually fine. Sign number 1 is that you end up deleting fewer photos when you get back to look at them on your computer. Sounds pretty obvious, but if you get back to your computer and you're scanning through your images and you don't have to actually delete hardly any because of technical errors such as missing focus or exposure, that kind of thing, that's a really great sign that you should probably maybe stop worrying about getting the wrong settings on your camera. Number 2, and that's to maybe take fewer photos. This sign is all about the amount of photos you're taking. So maybe in the past you would have taken 20, 30, 40 shots of more or less the same thing because you were worried that maybe your settings weren't quite right. If you find yourself over time taking fewer exposures of the same thing, that's probably a good sign that your camera settings are working and you need to maybe worry a little bit less about them. Sign number 3 is that when you look at your photos and when you're editing them on a big screen, the depth of field is exactly where you want it to be. Things at the front of the image are in focus and sharp. Mountains in the distance are in focus and sharp. It's a perfect signal that your settings are dialed in and you know exactly what you're doing with your camera because you can ensure that everything in that beautiful scene is tack sharp. Usually, it just means that your combination of aperture and focus settings are working fine for you and your camera. Number 4, when you get back to your computer and you're editing or looking at your photos, do you find yourself hardly ever having to apply lots of noise reduction? If not, if your photos are looking pretty good right from the start, probably means that you don't need to apply loads of noise reduction and possibly affect the image is because your camera settings are perfectly fine, specifically your ISO setting, and that also means that probably your other settings like aperture and shutter speed are also really good. So that's one less thing to worry about. And number 5 is it's a bit of an unusual one maybe, but if you find yourself wanting to either print or share your photos more, that's a pretty good sign that your camera settings are more or less exactly where you need them to be, and also that you're getting really confident using your camera and choosing the correct settings when out in the field. Leave a comment and let me know what other signs could possibly indicate the same thing. Please subscribe for more landscape photography. I'm Jason Roberts. Until next time, happy landscapes. Bye.